Hi, I'm Dr. Christian Conte. So I got a question the other day on my website, and the question was this. Dr. Conte, what do you believe are the 3 biggest relationship killers? Great question. The first thing that comes to my mind when I think what are the 3 biggest relationship killers are the 3 poisons of Buddhism: greed, hate, and delusion. So I want to go over briefly how each one of those can manifest itself into a relationship killer. Let's start with greed. Think about greed in terms of a relationship. A relationship is a connection between 2 people. So when we have greed or selfishness in a relationship, sometimes that selfishness can become so overwhelming that the relationship itself becomes solely about one member of that relationship. In that case, I believe that's a relationship killer. Look, it's natural for relationships at times to focus on one person or the other. That's okay, that's natural. But when one person consumes the majority of the energy for too long, then what's left for the other person? In that way, I believe that greed, selfishness, is a relationship killer. The second aspect to the 3 poisons of Buddhism is hatred. Now, hatred's a strong word, but let's think about it in terms of anger. Anger can be a relationship killer for sure. First off, let's look at this. At a minimum, if anger is not handled well in a relationship, it can result in name calling. It can result in people saying things that really significantly hurt their partners. At a maximum, however, anger can turn into things like violence. So we see domestic violence, we see violence on levels that is absolutely unacceptable. For sure, anger is a relationship killer. But beyond violence, let's just take a look at contempt. Psychologists have found through the years that probably the one quality that we can say absolutely predicts people aren't going to make it is contempt. Think about that. Now, it starts with anger. We start to build resentment. And then on top of that comes this contempt. And once you have contempt in a relationship, whether it's one person having contempt for the other, or whether it's both people having contempt, the relationship is really doomed to split apart. So we have greed, selfishness, we have hatred or anger and not dealing with it well. And finally, the third aspect, or the third poison, is delusion. Delusion is the idea that we have all the answers. And to me, certainty, it baffles me. I'm baffled by the concept of certainty. Like, we live in a universe. We live in a galaxy with more than 100 billion known stars. And there are more than 100 billion galaxies out there. So we have to ask ourselves, what is it that we really know for sure? We're learning new things all the time. But delusion is the idea that we're certain about what we know. And listen, it makes sense why we feel certain. We love to believe that what we know is the truth because that makes us feel safe. But to really think that we're out there, these little specks of dust in the universe, that's scary for people. So we love to have certainty. Now, here's where that becomes a problem. First of all, wanting to be certain, that's natural. We all want to feel certain about some things in life. That's okay. But where it becomes a relationship killer, usually what I find in relationships occurs when people start to believe that they're right, the other person is wrong. And then people start to get their identity with, I need to be right in this relationship. And I often ask couples, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? And if the answer is I'd rather be right, then oftentimes you're not very happy, or at least your partner's not very happy. Delusion is an enormous relationship killer. Because at the end of the day, one thing we know here now in 2016 is that memory is not perfect. All we can ever describe is our experience of a relationship, of an event, of an experience. So we say, this is my experience. And then your partner, if you love your partner and respect your partner, you listen openly to your partner's experience of the event, but without being attached. And I think the delusion, that belief that, no, it went this way, this is the entire way that this went, I think that leads to relationships splitting apart. Greed, hate, and delusion. Selfishness, anger, and believing that we have all the answers for something. That's what I believe are probably the 3 biggest relationship killers. If you like this video, hit subscribe. I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel, and I'd love for you to press like on the video. Not only that, here's what I'm going to ask. Visit drchristianconte.com. I wish you much peace.